Testing, check, check. Hello, welcome. Accidentally hit the wrong screen there. This is my Thursday stream. I'm Aletha Singleton. This is my Thursday stream where I play through video games and VR experiences and talk through them from a UX designer's perspective, because game design has a very heavy and direct influence on VR design, XR design, so it makes sense we'd study them to learn how to make better immersive experiences for ourselves. So that's what I do on Thursdays right now. I'm doing short streams because of recurring meetings within the next hour. So they're short streams right now, but I'm going through fire safety training VR right now. I played it originally a few weeks ago, and now I'm just scrubbing the video for the Rose Thorn Bud. Usually I will, through one session, I will play a game and then do a Rose Thorn Bud at the end of it to talk about what's working, what's not working, what if this were my game, or if this were an experience that we were doing a project on, what would we do to make it better? What could we do to make it better? And then if it's a 2D game, a desktop game, we would say, well, okay, then if we were making this for XR, what would we need to think about? And if it's already in VR, what would we need to think about if it were an augmented or mixed reality? Because I don't have any mixed reality headsets, so we are focusing on VR. And what would we think about if it were mixed or augmented? And so we go through from the perspective of the best practices of XR for UX for XR, and also gaming UX. And if you want to learn the pillars of gaming UX, you can check out the video that I put in the chat, and it's also in the About section on the Twitch page. And if you're watching this on demand later on YouTube, it'll be in the show notes as well. The pillars of gaming UX, they come from the book by Celia Hodent, The Gamer's Brain. And you can check that out and learn more about those pillars of gaming UX. And yeah, and so I go by genre. I am currently working on training, because I'm working on a training on-demand UX design for training in VR course. I haven't figured out the name for it yet, but it's going to be around VR training. And that's where most of my experience comes from, is training side of things. So I'll be working on an on-demand course for that on my on-demand school, and you can check that out if you want. I am in the process of transitioning this platform from Teachable to a new platform, because Teachable keeps removing features, and now they've upped the price as well. So we're moving off Teachable, and we're going to move to a less restrictive platform, because they're restricting the amount of classes I can have on there and a lot of things. So we're moving off of them and onto a different one. And yeah, I'm working on that now. I don't have a deadline or a ETA on that yet, but there are 2 free classes up there right now. You can take those. So there's no like money commitment on the Teachable platform. I'm not going to be charging any money for courses until I get it over to the new platform that is less restrictive than Teachable. So yeah, look forward to that. And it will be some kind of probably a hybrid course where there's a lot of on-demand, but then we'll also be like meeting live at some point. So the ones that are on there now are fully on demand, where you can take those courses and then show up here on stream to like talk if you have questions or whatever, and otherwise you can just hang out and watch while I study this stuff and talk out loud about it. So I am gonna pick up. We stopped at 30 minutes 30 seconds, so we'll just pick up there. I rewound it a little bit for context. So yeah, let's get to that.
Put the key back in place. To do this, move your hand to the keyhole and pull the trigger. Slide the fire. You notice smoke and sparks in the hallway by the switch.
Okay, so this is where the test starts. So we had gone through and inspected all of the stuff, and I was having to use the wrong hand on the wrong controller. I had to switch my hands on the controller because my right arm is something's wrong with my right arm. I can't use it. I've lost mobility in it. I'm still figuring that out. So I don't have any mobility in my right arm, which means I have to do everything with my left arm. So, but they were restricting the handedness. You can't choose handedness in this game, which is one of the things that I have training. Which one of the things that I mentioned is people with motor function impairments are going to have an issue with this because they can't move both arms. So how are they going to do this? And then if this was a real life situation, what would here? So yeah, think about that. Design with accessibility in mind. Give people options over their handedness, and so let's see. Strange have to move hands closer to the radio buttons during the phone call. So I'm about to have to do the phone call. Um, and I had to switch the controllers in real life. Holding the phone in the left hand, can't move the arm well enough because I had to grab the phone with the left hand because I couldn't reach it with my right hand. And then that meant I had to choose options on a menu with my right hand, which wasn't working because it came with my right hand. So yeah, IRL, you could do this thing and put the phone on your ear and use your other arm or whatever. But because I don't know if, I mean, I'd have to like do this to put the phone to my ear with my right arm because I can't move it up, and that hurt just doing that. Now it hurts. So yeah, I couldn't even do that. I'd have to like put it up on my navel, and even that's not comfortable because it's like all through here. So mobility is an important thing, and you have to think about whenever you're designing these VR experiences, especially for like safety training and stuff like that. Because you want you want everyone to know how to do things safely, not just not just people with full motor functions and capabilities. Um, let's see. So yeah, I don't think I've. Let me see what I've done here. Yeah. So we'll go ahead.
Immediately call the emergency by number 112. While informing the address of the organization, its name, the place where smoke occurs, your last name,
Too much stuff.
and contact phone number.
Too much info. And that NPC's just standing there at the water cooler, not doing anything. So too much info, and that is the same thing. I don't know if that makes it better or worse switching the music. Because there's music in the video, so then it sounds terrible when I have both going on at the same time. But then when I stop the video, there's no music. Is it better to just leave it quiet? I don't know. I'll have to rewatch sometime and see how annoying it is for myself. Unless y'all give me feedback first. Okay. So it gave me too much information again. And that is too much verbal information at once. So this is also... here. So I'll just add the timestamp here. Because I'm probably going to grab this footage for something at some point. 3044. Fire alarm going off. Smoke. Lots of verbal instruction. Can't keep up. Too much. Too much going on. Okay. It didn't let me actually, it didn't teach me anything about what I should be looking for on the pin, whatever it was talking about with the extinguisher. It didn't tell me what to look for. All I know about is the gauge now, that it's in the green. But it didn't tell me what to look for with the handle and stuff. Yeah, I was trying to reach... Okay, no, that's my left hand. The NPC's just standing there. Did I say that on here? When alarm goes off and fire breaks out, NPC standing by the water cooler, not responding. And the fire's right behind him. This is at 31. What was that at? That was at the same time as the other one. 3044? 3044. This is where we get into NPC behaviors. Because that ain't realistic. That is not realistic unless that poor person is hearing impaired. That's not realistic. Everything matters about for immersion and for training. It breaks immersion when they don't behave naturally, like you would expect. And it also important for training scenarios. Is that spelled wrong? Scenarios. Yeah, probably had it right the first time. To include realistic reactions and behaviors. So, what would have happened if that NPC had thrown a water cooler on the thing? If he'd like pulled the water cooler out and just went, psh, that would have been bad because it was potentially an electrical fire. But could have done it. Then what? That would be a different scenario for a different training module. But yeah. Realistically, though, unless you're alone in the building, you're not going to be responding to that emergency by yourself. There, other people would hopefully step in and, you know, help out. But none of the NPCs are doing this in here. And yeah, that was easier to code. That was easier to create. But realistically, if you're wanting them to learn realistically how to do things, also, is it realistic to go to a phone right next to a fire? Or is it more realistic to have someone else call, or you call while someone else deals with the fire? I know they're trying to train one person on how to use the extinguisher, but there could have been other ways of doing that besides the way they did it here. If you're wanting to think about a realistic scenario, make it realistic. Because the goal of XR training is to teach them how they would react in the real situation so that if or when they got into that real situation, they would be able to react appropriately. And appropriately, in that situation, would you be using a phone on the wall, or would you be using your cell phone while you were acting on something? Like using the cell phone while you're getting the extinguisher, if it's just you, or there's a lot of things about this scenario that are too staged, I guess. Thinking about realistic scenarios. This one is not so realistic. This one leaves things out. This one leaves a lot out. Like, for example, the NPC not reacting. Using let's see, the NPC not reacting, using a wired phone on wall next to a fire, as opposed to cell phone while moving. While acting. It's very linear. So I'll give all the information while NPCs stand around doing nothing. Then hang up, get the extinguisher, and go put it out yourself. this could have been handled differently. This could have been handled in multiple ways, and I'm sure that they like discussed possible ways of doing this. At least I hope they did. And there could have been a good reason that they came up with this solution as it. Generally, whenever you're creating training sims, you're going to work in modules. So maybe this was the introductory module. And then if you want to get more advanced, you would do, okay, now what if it's a scenario with an electrical fire with water exposure or stuff? Then you would get into more advanced scenarios. But don't forget the goal of the safety training. The goal of the safety training is to get them used to the situation that they would be in realistically. Get them used to the scenario so they can react when that happens in real life. In real life, it's not going to be linear. Won't be linear. IRL, NPCs are going to be doing stuff. And possibly help. Because there's a fire alarm going off. There's like a smoke alarm going off. It's not a fire alarm. It's a smoke alarm. Smoke alarm goes off. Or the fire right behind him. I guess I would say if that were the case, I wouldn't put the NPC in the hull if you're not going to have the NPC respond to anything. Put them in one of the offices that you check and say, hey, there's fire, go. Because that's one of the steps here. If you don't have time to code NPC behaviors, no time or budget, put them in an office as someone you check on later in scenario. If you're not gonna like do a realistic behavior on a I think looking at all of this training stuff that I've been going through here, I may have 2 classes. I may have 2 courses coming out of this, not one. And this is going to be the second one. There's going to be a beginner one, and this is not it. This is a more advanced one. We're going to do a beginner course. It's different. Yep. Okay. What else do I want to say about this? Thinking about realistic scenarios. This one leaves out a lot. Using a wired phone on a wall next to the fires as opposed to a cell phone while getting the extinguisher. Very linear. And go do all the steps yourself. Without any other help. Which is fine if you're like in a school and this is a bunch of kids, but this was an office space with a bunch of adults. You would hope that they would behave more like adults and help. So you need to know, like, what is this human behavior going to actually be? Understand humans. How do they behave? And I know that I've been there. That when you've got a bunch of stakeholders and a bunch of SMEs telling you what to do, telling you your design, and doesn't matter, it's like sometimes it's impossible to get them to see the light of day because they're so stuck on their solution instead of trusting you to let you design the thing that they've paid you to design. I've been there. I know how that is. It's hard and frustrating. Sometimes you can't. There is a good school that is available if you want to learn all those UX politics. That let's see, I never remember the URL. Give Good UX. It's Joe Natoli. It's the UX 365 Academy. And he has online courses and resources and stuff that you can check out for general UX, regardless of the platform. It's not just XR. This is just general UX. You want to check that out, by Joe Natoli. I'm totally tempted to get this, sign up for his stuff, even though I have all this experience. I'm totally tempted to sign up anyway, just to see, because I'm guessing I can still learn from him. But money, time, all that. But if you're wanting to check that out, go ahead, check that out. He has some books and resources as well. This is all general. And this one's free. Check that out. He's a great resource because he teaches all that politics, all that stuff you don't learn in school, all that stuff that it took me 20 years to learn and figure out. He's teaching you up front, so I would highly recommend all of that. It's all the stuff they don't teach you in school, because in school they'll teach you the ideal, everything ideal. He doesn't do that. He does the real, which is great. We need to learn real, so we don't go in and get all disillusioned when things don't work the way that we were taught they're supposed to work. So that's great. And no, I'm not sponsored by him, so I'm not getting any money from that. I just checked it out and saw this. I'm actually intrigued. I would like to learn from him too. I'm sure he knows stuff I don't, because we all come from different backgrounds and we all have different experiences, regardless of how long you've been in this field. You can't be so arrogant as to think that you know everything, especially even if you've got 20 years of experience on someone with 5 years of experience. That person has different experiences than you, and they're gonna, I haven't worked for an agency before. I've always worked in-house. And I've run my own consulting companies before, but I've never worked for an agency before. I worked with them, but never for them. And so I don't have that experience. I don't have the experience of how they have to deal with their clients and stuff. I only know in-house. I only know my own consulting. And I run my consulting, so what I say is what happens. of course, you're listening to your clients and stuff, but I mean, like, I'm the one that manages my day to day and everything. So I don't have that agency experience. And I've actually been turned down for jobs before, even though I have so much experience. I've actually been turned down for a job before because I didn't have agency experience because I was trying to go work for an agency. So yeah, which was stupid. But anyway, different topic. I'm not bitter. I'm actually glad I didn't get that job. But that's how it is. Even if you have 5 years experience, you may have experience that someone with 20 years doesn't have, depending on where you have worked, where your life has taken you. So don't be like arrogant to think that you can't learn from someone with less experience than you. That's what I'm trying to say. And I don't know, he may actually have more experience than me, but that got me off on that tangent. So yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get 2 classes out of this instead of just 1. That makes me feel better, less stressed, like, because it's a lot of content to cover that I want to cover, and breaking it up in 2 is gonna make me feel better about that, because less stressful for me, and it's gonna be like figure out how to teach it all, but then also it'll be less overwhelming for the people that take the class. Okay. Wired phone, very linear, no time or budget. It's no time or budget to code NPC behaviors, put them in an office, because you're going to have to do that later. Using a wired phone on a wall next to a fire as opposed to a cell phone. While getting an extinguisher. I would be IRL. I would be here, I'm going to move this. What would happen IRL? Without anyone else helping, they're just standing around. That would make sense for fire safety training. At a school, not a business, not an office building. But even then, at a school, you're going to have other adults there helping. And yeah, I know that they probably, there's all kinds of things. And even like, depending on how experienced you are in creating training experiences, which a lot of VR studios, especially early on, were not. They were learning as they went. We all were. So it's possible that it's just something that they didn't know at this point, that they still haven't learned at this point when they made this. Or it could be that they were having to maneuver that whole client relationship, especially if you're dealing with like what they're saying that they could have been navigating the politics of client requirements and international, that's for sure, international standards for safety training, for fire safety training. There are certain standards that you have to follow, and that could have been like just putting all the kibosh on a whole bunch of stuff. That politics, if you don't know how to maneuver that, you have to learn to maneuver. You have to learn to maneuver the politics, and that's why I was saying that website that I just shared, Give Good UX, can help with that. Help learn how to maneuver those politics. Because there are politics involved in UX, whether you like it or not. There are politics involved. Most likely they were having to navigate those politics. And a lot of like regulations, like national regulations for government regulations for training and stuff, is going to have some antiquated, outdated requirements in light of VR, in light of this new technology, that don't take into account the possibilities of VR. But then there's also the issue of budget and time. Now, most of the time, from my experience with working with government clients and working with clients that have a lot of policies in place, is that you have to learn those policies, you have to learn those politics, but on top of that, there's no money. There's never money. Even though you would think there is, there's not. Or they don't want to spend it anyway. And there's no time. Timelines are unrealistic. And they usually, whoever's on the government teams usually does not have the knowledge in place of who to hire for things. And that's not to say anything bad about this studio that made this thing. Because I don't know anything about what's going on behind the scenes here. There could be a lot going on behind the scenes here that could make this that makes this turn out the way it does. We make and that's one of the things about gamers and everyone who uses any kind of experience, makes all of these like backseat driver suggestions on, well, they should have done it this way. And we assume that we know everything that's going on behind the scenes when we have no clue what's going on behind the scenes unless we've been there ourselves. And there's all kinds of things that can go on behind the scenes to make something suboptimal. You have to learn to maneuver the politics. You have to learn how to deal with all that. And it took me over 20 years to even start figuring that out. Because of my background and because of the situations that I was in. So some people learn it a lot sooner, and those people are very fortunate. And again, that's why I would say go check out that website, givegoodux.com by Joe Natoli, and learn that stuff. Learn it up front. All the stuff that you're not going to learn in school. Because that is very important. It's very important. I wish I knew all that stuff when I was starting out. My life would have been a lot easier and a lot less stressful if I had known that stuff, how to maneuver those politics, understanding how to talk, learn how to negotiate budgets and timelines. And this is one thing that I admit one of my weaknesses is I am stupid about time. I'm stupid about time. I can guess all day long how long it's going to take to do something, but at the end of the day, I am really bad about how long it's going to take to do something. Now, if it's something like short, small, like little snippets of things, I'm pretty good at guessing that. That I can say, like, yeah, it'll take me 2 days to do that. Yeah, it'll take me a few hours to do that. But if it's like a big project, no clue. I am horrible at figuring out time. And yeah, I know the steps to do it, but I always forget all the stuff that can go wrong. And you have to remember all the stuff that can go wrong and add that to your timeline. And what I've started doing to help myself is that I have a little hours tracker that keeps track of how long I spend on something. So I will clock in, like I'm clocked in right now while I'm streaming, to say I'm spending this much time streaming, which is time working on this fire safety thing that I'm doing. And so I'm logging how much time I'm spending on things so that if someone were to ask me how long do I think it would take me to do something, I can look at my time logs and say, okay, I've spent that much time in the past. I'll estimate this much time based on the project and like any differences or anything and estimate. And that actually helped. That's already helped me. I've already been able to overestimate and then actually come in under the time and under the budget because I was able to more accurately estimate the time. So that would be one tip, is to do an hours tracker. Start tracking your time so that you know how long it's going to take to do stuff. And I do it for my own stuff. I do it for I have a little hours tracker app. So if I'm working on a freelance thing, if I'm working on a contract, I log all that time and I write down in there, because you can add a note to what it was you were doing, and I log what it was I was doing, and I clock in and I clock out just like you would if you were at a job anywhere else. And then you're just clocking in and out of projects or in and out of tasks to say, okay, this is taking me this long. So you can go back in the future and check and see, okay, that's how long it's probably going to take me to do this project now, this new thing, because this is how long it took last time. And then, of course, if it's a difference in project or a difference in like scope of the project, then you can modify accordingly. But you have data to help you figure that out. Because that's a big thing that a lot of people will do, is underestimate time and budget. Negotiate budgets and timelines, and learn how to more accurately estimate. So that's what I've been doing to help myself get better at the stupid about time thing. I just have to, my challenge now is just remembering to clock in and out the different tasks, which sometimes I forget. Like I'll go stop to go eat and forget to clock back in after I get back. It's like, oh crap, I've been working for 3 hours and I didn't clock in. So I'll have to like go back and figure that out. But estimate time and budget, because that is a big thing that people that are new to it, like, how much time do you think this is going to take? I hate that question. But it's a question that, it's a very reasonable question. I just hate it. But yeah, you have to learn how to negotiate the times and the budgets. That's where I need to grow, is and I have grown since I've started doing this clock in, clock out thing. That helps me look back at logs, at data, and say, okay, it took me this long. Now I can estimate accurately how long it's going to take. And then I love it when I come in under budget and under time. That's always great, because I'll overestimate just to like pad to make sure, because of eventualities, unforeseen circumstances. Okay, So let's see, did I say everything I wanted to say about this? Realistic scenarios using a wired phone on a wall next to a fire. I would be building even at school. There will be other adults helping. Yeah. Not getting very far. The photo is kind of annoying. Popping up a photo. I don't know. Yeah, why'd you put a photo? That just totally broke immersion. Um, so let's make a section for the phone call. I'm gonna. These are not related to anything specifically, so I'm gonna move these. Hmm. So that's about the phone, I think. I'll move that. I just move these here because they're not specifically about a particular one. And then I'm going to move this down because this is a new topic. There's a lot of thorns here. I thought I had a lot of thorns on wrench, but of course I was just doing that off memory. This is not off memory. This is me scrubbing the video. I would have way more thorns on wrench if I had done it this way. Okay. The phone has so let's see, when you pick up the phone. It didn't tell me what to look for with the handle and stuff. Okay. When picking up phone. So now I'm wondering what would have happened if I had picked it up with my right hand. Would the left hand have gone? A huge photo pops up in view. It's stuck to the HUD. See?
Name and contact phone number.
It obscures everything. It's stupid. It didn't let me actually, it didn't teach me anything about what I should be looking for on the pin, whatever it was talking about with the extinguisher. It didn't tell me what to look for. All I know about is the gauge now that it's in the green, but it didn't tell me what to look for with the handle and stuff. And I'm about to have to stop because I have to go to that other meeting. So it's not stuck at the HUD. Good. Blocking the phone and everything. Just blocking your view. Um, 3117. We're gonna have to stop there because I've got to go. Enneagram 5 was coming out back there when I said stupid. Could have been for a very good reason, so. But I've got to go now. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see y'all next time.